Hello and welcome to our live stream. Look at this doofus of a cat. My name's Cara. This is Dylan. Welcome to our live show. KJ couldn't make it today, but we are going to proceed without her, unfortunately. Um, but today we are talking about Iron Widow by Jiren J. Zhao. I'm going to try and say everything right, but my mouth can't pronounce tonal languages without sounding really dumb.
Yeah,
So I'm
I
going to
wrote
try my best.
I wrote down the pronunciations, but some of them start with certain letters that my stutter makes it really hard for me to say. So we'll see.
We're going to do our best. Um, no, got an alert. What was it about? Oh, nothing important. Yes. So that's what we're talking about today. Um, I read this a while ago now, but you read it recently. So
Yeah, I just finished it today, like 2 hours ago.
I feel like you're up to date. Um,
Let's
do you
just
want
say
me to
I
give
didn't
a
understand.
synopsis or do you want to have a go?
Sorry, what?
Do you want me to give a synopsis or do you want to have a go?
Yeah, because I couldn't give you a synopsis. I didn't understand what was going on half the time. Honestly, I give it 4 stars though. I think we all give it 4 stars. I spied on your guys' like Goodreads and stuff, and
Yeah.
yeah, we're all
I
good.
think when I ended up filming my wrap up, I it felt emotionally closer to a five. Like I felt a strong connection to it, like
Yeah.
lingering. But there was some like technical stuff that made it a four for me.
Yeah, like me being stupid and not understanding anything that was going on. But I still enjoyed it, like the characters and everything. I really liked how the relationships developed and everything.
I think Erin's internet's coming and going, but she has been here. And yeah, I agree. It would have been cool to have some like pronunciation guides, but I don't think it's like necessary. Like
Yeah,
the dumb white people that don't understand, but
exactly.
also like it
Yeah,
could be
me.
helpful.
Yeah.
Um, like hey, to be like Peter for me, the white guy, but it would have been handy. Um,
And I
the
thought it was just me and my bad memory, but
no.
because I took like a freaking month to read it, but I forgot who some of the characters were. Some of the like the side characters they would come up and I'd be like, "Wait, who are you?"
I did think there were a few times where like I sometimes need hand holding. Hi. Sometimes I need a bit of hand holding through stuff like that if you're reintroducing a character that got introduced early in the story. Like I need you to tell me their name, but also like who they are in context to people. Like, wait, who's this person again? And that was one like technical thing that I think this
Yeah.
book missed that a few times. So there were a few times where I was confused because it was referring to something we should have known, but it didn't handhold me enough for
Yeah.
me to know what was going on. And I gotta get a bit
Because
confused.
sometimes I would go like a week without reading it too. So I'd pick it up and be like, "Wait, where am I? Who are you? What's going on?" What's an issue with reading multiple books at once and taking a long time to read them? You just
Yeah.
it's hard to keep
Yep.
track on. That's not necessarily the book's fault. That's just me.
Yeah. I like this comment from Erin. I was kind of the same. Like I knew some things, but then I knew that I was storing it in my head wrong. So like I was like pronouncing the names, but I knew it wasn't perfect because I didn't know how to like do the tones right. But then like it's in my head now as my like made up, not quite right way.
I have it. I think I pronounce it right in my head. I just can't say it out loud because of my stutter.
I can practice and get it right, like based on like what we looked up. But
Yeah.
I my brain like inserted the like Australian accent version.
I
Yes.
wrote down like the pronunciations from what I could gather listening to like YouTube videos and stuff.
And I think my biggest problem is like an Australian accent trying to do anybody else's accent just sounds mocking.
Yeah.
And so I feel really bad doing it. It just doesn't come across well. Um, but
Yeah.
our accent is awful.
Yeah, then me with my stutter, it sounds like I'm like not even trying. I'm like, no, sorry, I genuinely just
I'm
cannot.
trying.
Like even a lot of English names, I can't say if they start with like a vowel. That's my stutter is like has a thing with vowels.
I do want to listen to the audiobook because I agreed. I think it would be really good for like solidifying pronunciation. It'd be really good.
I got the audiobook. Apparently I had a credit, like an Audible credit. So I was able to like get it for free.
Nice. I have a bunch of Audible credits, but I'm really like careful how I spend them. And I was like, oh, I already have this. Like I've read it.
I don't even understand how it works, how Audible Credit works. And I think I have like Amazon Prime, but I don't know like how or how I'm paying for. I should really look into that because I'm like, am I paying for this? How's it? I don't know what's going on. I don't remember signing up for it.
I don't know about Amazon, but Audible credits are like your monthly subscription gives you a credit a month.
Oh, so that means I have a monthly subscription? Oh shoot.
That's how everyone signs up to Audible. Like if you're paying for Audible, it's like a monthly subscription.
Oh,
But
okay.
you really just get like one credit per month, so you get like a book a month.
Okay.
Um,
I think I
but it
understand.
might have been old. You might have like had it sitting in storage and cancelled your account or something. I'm not sure. So I think you can like pause paying for it.
Okay. I have to look into that.
I do think I listened to a little bit of the narration, just the sample, when I was trying to find some pronunciations, and it did sound really good. She sounded like she was doing a good job. I should give a synopsis because we should do that.
Yeah.
For anybody watching, we'll get into spoiler territory probably because we normally do, or kind of at least. Um, and this is your like non-spoiler summary if you want it. But basically, we follow Zeshan, which I think is kind of right, who is a girl from a kind of peasanty village town, but it's set in a futuristic China with some like throwbacks to, oh, it's like a blended
Yeah.
historical
Going
futuristic
into it, for some
situation.
reason, I thought it was historical. And it was
But
like,
it's like
wait,
historical futuristic.
yeah.
It's a weird blend. There's definitely historical elements, and I believe it's taken from all kinds of history times. Like it's not specific to any one time either. And so she's from a little peasant kind of village, but in this version of China, there's giant mecha things, like both evil ones that try and attack the towns and ones that the people have taken over to fight back. But to pilot them, normally boys pilot them with concubines providing a yin yang kind of power to power the mechas. But our main character's like, that's shit because her sister dies. And the women usually die and the men get to just keep going. And her sister died and she went, fuck that, and tries to kill him and does kill him. And that's like right at the start. And then it's a whole like
Yeah, that
adventure of
surprised me.
her in the
I thought
world
the whole book would be her like trying to kill him, but no, she just like does it, and that's the beginning.
in like chapter 3.
Oh, girl! All right, we're doing this.
So it's a lot about like gender and like gender stereotyping, but also like we talked about before you started I'm pointing in the wrong direction before you started it, but I had already finished it. You were a bit worried about it being very like binary gender.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Think
worried about pretty much everything I read. I'm worried about that.
Yeah, but I do think it kind of like does a good job of, while the like constructs of the world are binary gender, it kind of like breaks down how that is like actually functioning, like
Yeah,
like trueness of it versus it just being like a construct of their society.
yeah. I would have liked to learn more about the butterflies and the remember the butterflies mentioned at the very beginning, and
Yes.
then it brought up like intersex people. I would have. I expected that to be brought up more, considering how much gender was brought up. Maybe in the second book.
I feel like the second book could do a lot of cool stuff, especially around like the second love interest, her like best friend, long term love interest. That
I
one.
can't say because of my stutter.
Is it Yishi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't say it.
So I feel like he has a lot of non-binary trans characteristics that I feel like could like come forward, especially in the way his magic was portrayed.
I love him. He's so
yeah.
cute. And hold on, before I forget, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I don't know if you caught it, but there was like a very brief moment when she was thinking about how she had wondered in the past if okay, there, I said it, had been liked boys too, and then she briefly was like she had like said that, or thought to herself that she had thought of girls that way too. I don't know if anyone else caught that. So is she like canonically like attracted to multiple genders?
I thought so, but it was a quick passing.
Mhm.
And I'm really interested to see how his character like settles into gender, because I feel like that could be like explored a lot in book two.
Yeah.
I should go through some comments. So Erin said she flew through it, and was very, very fast when she even so fast that she could wait for an audiobook the whole time. And Bella said
I was gonna try to listen to the audiobook. I don't know if I can really do audiobooks. I just get distracted and I have to rewind it like constantly because I get distracted and wasn't paying attention. So
yeah. Erin also asked, have either of us watched or read other mecha stuff? I've read other mecha stuff, but I haven't watched anything. I've been told I need to watch Neon Genesis Evangelion. Is that how you pronounce it? And that's one of those words that like I've seen more than I've ever heard anyone say.
I've never heard of either of those.
I think they're both animes, but I haven't watched either. But I read like the month beforehand, Gear Breakers by Zoe Hanamakuta, which is also a mecha sapphic story. And it was also really cool. They did have a lot of similar themes, but one was very futuristic and this one had much more like that blend, which I thought made it really cool. Bella said, I have a feeling Zeshan's going to explore gender a lot more in the next book.
Yeah, I think so. / hope so.
And she talks a lot about how womanhood never served her at all and she doesn't really like the term woman. Yeah, I agree. I think it will I think it's like fed through, currently it's so much fed through the binary constructs of the society that are being like imposed, but I'm interested to see it kind of like break out of that. I think it could be really good.
I feel like it'll take a really cool direction. Is it a 2-book series or a trilogy?
I think it's a duology, but don't quote me on that. I know 100%.
I think that's what I remember seeing.
Yeah. And yeah, so like Erin's totally right. I feel like it's all about the construction of the false binary, and it really makes it clear that it's like a false binary and it's not like how they're trying to make it function. And I love how it's so interesting not even talking about the romance. I also really liked the romance.
I did. Between all of them, I feel like each dynamic is really sweet, and like Sherman and Eju, I thought their first kiss was like really sweet. That was really cute. And yeah, with that ending, I'm really interested to see what.
When I read it, I was like, oh no, Dylan's gonna riot. But I can't imagine it not be. It feels like the kind of thing that's like a happy ending through struggle. Like
Yeah.
if it didn't have an ultimate happy ending, like it would feel so like cheapened. So I feel like confident that the series or like the duology, however it ends up, will end with a happy ending because it would just feel wrong if it didn't. Like,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
promise me all that and then cut it off. Like, no.
Yeah, no.
But we've got to have some tension. And that ending really did like hit it in the tension. I was like, oh. Yeah, I feel like I don't know enough of these other things to like. It didn't feel super derivative to me with these other things, but I didn't know them. I don't know them. But you're 100% right. Derivative doesn't have to be bad. And I don't like the way that often we talk about things like as soon as something's everything's derivative of something. It's just whether you know it or not. But it's more about like making your own version. I'm glad we read something this month that Erin liked. Because I feel like Erin always doesn't like anything. I no, it's gone. Brain thought gone. Yeah, I think my few dislikes were really around little writing quirks where the writing just didn't like work perfectly for me. It either like sped through a scene a bit quick and I had to read it 3 times to like get the exact beats of what was happening and things like that, which was just like it didn't work with my brain. But the overall like arc and the characters and stuff were all like 5-star. So that's where I kind of ended up at like a 4-star, but it was like not because it was bad at all. It was just like a me thing.
Yeah, the same thing.
Like,
Like me just not understanding shit. That's just me. It's not necessarily the book's fault, but it does dampen my enjoyment just like a tiny, tiny, tiny.
yeah. And as I said, like right at the start of the live, if Erin wasn't in yet, sometimes I do need the hand holding to be like, here's what's going on, here's how it related to that thing earlier. And I often go into books just trusting that the author will handhold me enough. And then I get disappointed if they don't quite. Like I get a bit confused because I'm not the kind of person that like writes notes or keeps character maps or anything. I'm like, no, you'll tell me if I need to know. Like you'll lead me along. And then if they don't, I'm like, damn it. Damn it. And this was one of the examples that was like just not quite enough in some scenes. And then like all rushed through a scene, I had to reread it. I can totally buy Adrian as a huge Gundam fan. I have a lot of like anime fan friends, but I've never really got into anime in any detail. I've watched a lot of Sailor Moon and Pokemon because that's what they watch and make me watch. My old boss wanted me to watch Neo Genesis, but I didn't. Yeah. I literally just know there's mecha in that anime. Yeah, Aaron's totally right. It's like debut things. There are a lot of debut books that I'm like, oh, this would be so good if you just had like a few more books under your belt to like know the little technical stuff. But I believe this of Adrian. This is like, it means nothing to me. I don't know what a gunpla is, but I believe it. But yeah, this idea of like debut authors. I can think of so many debut authors where I was like, oh, it was just like technically not quite perfect. But it was so good.
See, I don't know enough about writing to be like, oh, all this technical stuff, and oh, this would be better if it would have debuted.
I don't know the
like
skill.
whatever.
I feel like it's like though it's like that extra bonus of like that just felt right is like a technical thing. You can learn to do it. I don't know how, but you can. And people tend to get better at it. Like
Yeah.
debut releases, then it's
See,
not as good, and then they
yeah,
get better.
that's something I think. I mean, I don't know if it's the first book they ever wrote or just the first one they got published. I think about that a lot. I'm not necessarily sure I would want the first book I ever wrote to be published because I feel like that would be like bad. Like I feel like I would need to write at least a couple before I actually write one that's like good enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like like getting the first book you write published would be like great, but at the same time I'm like, but like I feel like I would personally want more experience.
I agree. I'm like only even considering if I ever get anything I'm writing off the ground that I could self-publish that, only because I've written like 10 fanfic novels.
That's what like it's like kept me from writing so much because I'm like, but everyone's always like almost never publish the first book you write, and so then I'm like, well then what's the point? I don't I don't want to have to write 5 books
Yeah,
first.
I want to be perfect the first time. God.
Yeah.
I do think it had like the Iron Widow had the anime beats that like it felt right. But that might have also been part of why like the pacing didn't always work for me. So it was going too fast. There were the times that like I was enjoying it, but then I'd have to go back a page and be like, hey, wait, how did that actually progress? Like I had to re-scene it, but
Yeah.
I'm not visual, so that doesn't help. Like I feel like if I was a visual person, maybe that could have been all right because I could have seen it. I don't know. I'm not a visual reader, which I often like conflict with other people on stuff like that. Like so many times people say, I hated that book because like I couldn't imagine it. And I'm like, what is imagining? I don't know. What is that?
I don't even know. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Little kits. Cool. I'm imagining little Warhammer figurines, which is my only reference for like models. But I'll buy it. I haven't read it yet. I'll be reading it soon. I will let you know. If Lost in the Woods could have been a trunk novel. Lost in the Neverwoods. I am planning on reading it in December. So, cool.
Wait, Lost in the Neverwoods, is that the one by
Aiden Thomas.
author whose name starts with an A, so I can't say it?
Yeah. But it was his first written, but second published. So, I don't know if it was his first ever, but it came before.
Yeah, I think he was
right.
saying he wrote it before he knew he could like write like trans characters and stuff like that.
Yeah. I totally agree with this, Bella. I love flowery writing because it feels nice, but I don't like imagine scenes in my head. I have to really like work hard to imagine a scene. But writing
What
can
does
feel
flowery writing even mean? Does it mean lots of big words?
not necessarily big words, but like rhythmic, kind of like almost like poetry. As sometimes it can be big words, but I don't feel like it has to be. It's kind of like that almost pretentious, like, but
Yeah, that's
big words.
really difficult for me. Like I kind of like it, but at the same time, I'm just like, what are you saying, and what is going on? It's just too much for my. I like I'm reading the Atlas 6 right now, and that writing is very much like that. Like kind of, I don't know if I want to use the word pretentious, but just
like Atlas 6 is pretentious.
it's like a lot less. What?
I've heard it's pretentious.
I mean, just like a lot of big words are used, and I'm like, I feel like this could be said in much simpler terms, and like no one thinks like this. But at the
I
same time,
feel like
I'm
that's
I'm really enjoying it. Like I'm predicting it'll be like a 5-star read, just because it's just like I'm just really enjoying all the different character POVs, and it has like a little bit of like possibly, maybe, potentially
I
polyamory.
did
There's
hear
already
that.
a scene of like 3 of the characters, and so I'm like,
Well, I saw the like plot summary from the author when it was transitioned, like when they were announcing it getting like properly published with
yeah, so
or
that
wherever it's
that
going.
has that's being like properly published in January, so the sequel's not
Yeah.
until freaking fall of next year.
And
So
she said something like, the author said something like, if you like magic with a big cast where everyone's a little bit in love with everyone else. So like
yeah, so I
that's the
feel like
vibe.
my hopes up, and I feel like I'm worried I'm getting set up to be disappointed, like if they don't all become like kind of like a tangled polycule thing. Like I don't want to get set up for disappointment. But yeah, my one issue is just that sometimes I have to read a paragraph like 10 times before I realize what the fuck they're saying, and I'm like, this could have been said in much simpler terms.
I was that kid reader. There are a lot of words that I only know because I took context cues. Like I read books and then were like, oh, so you said these kind of things, that must mean that. So I have a lot of things that I don't have quite the perfect definition for. And if I read those, I'm just like, cool, good. I just like make up what they mean half the time.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure what
Yeah.
things mean. I never look them up. I just kind of guess based on what's around them, like what kind of makes sense. So I
Exactly.
just roll with it.
Yeah.
But as Erin said here, metaphorical writing, I can't see anything. So yes, it makes me feel the metaphor because you're not seeing it. So you gotta like have other things. I agree with that, Erin. In my brain, my dumb brain. She said that mech pilots being teenagers is part of the genre, which I didn't know. So there's that. That informs stuff.
Well, we got like really off topic for a while there, didn't we?
We did.
Sorry.
And then I'm like, oh god, we've got a backlog of comments. Let's go back. Yeah. I feel like I knew this, but I didn't know this, that it was like part of the genre. Just like I feel like the one that I've seen bits of is the one with the like giant human gross people, whatever that one's called. They're not in mechas, but I feel like it's the same thing. It's like child soldiers. So the little things come disassembled and take hours of assembly. That does not sound fun. Like at least Warhammer figurines, you can just paint them. Not that I have any Warhammer figurines. Bella says she can't visualize for shit. Agreed.
I'm trying to think right now. Can
If
I
you
visualize?
visualize,
It just really, 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 really depends how it's described. Sometimes I'm like, I can picture it very clearly. Other times I'm just like, what am I supposed to be imagining right
I think that's normal, and that's why people say things like, I just couldn't visualize it. And that's like a common barrier for people to reading. I never have that problem because I never see any book ever. So it's like normal for me not to be able to see it in front of me. Like I never see anything. So it's normal.
I feel like I used to like really want like characters to be described clearly so I could picture them easily. Otherwise, I would just have a difficult time enjoying it. And now I'm just like, whatever. Everyone's just like
I'll make it
up, or everyone's just like a blob. Like,
yeah. That's me. I never remember. I'm like Erin here. Like I won't remember a character description because I didn't take any of it in. It's
unless,
like not stored.
yeah, unless I
I'm
see
just like
like
cool.
artwork. Like I saw a drawing of the 3 of them from Iron Widow, and from then on I was able to like picture them, and same with the Atlas 6. I saw like a drawing of the 6 of them, and Now I just go like refer back to that whenever I want to like picture.
Drawings do help me 100%. Like I can
drawing.
like, but it's not. I can't imagine them doing the thing. I can just like pull up the picture. Like that's it.
Once I have
But,
it's like a lot easier. I wish every book had like a drawing at the beginning of like
the characters. I do. What was I gonna say? Like I read Six of Crows back in the day, and then everyone, when the casting was coming out for the TV show, was like, or even before that, were talking about how like Nina was such great fat representation, but no one had like said it before then. And then I was like, I've read this. Was she fat? I can't remember. I did not store that in my head.
A lot of times, like a certain descriptor will be mentioned like once in passing, and I'll like miss it or forget it or something, and then people will be like, "Oh, this person has like red hair or something," and I'm like, "What?
Yeah, when?
Where?"
Yeah, and this is the same for me. Like, unless it's really significant, like if they beat it into me, like they have a scar on their face that's really important to their characterization because they were stabbed by their dad when they were 10. Like, oh, remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Or
Otherwise,
like, the Shermine, where it really like drilled into us. Oh, he has short hair, and that was unusual because like everyone had long hair. I was like, okay, well,
yeah,
I won't forget that.
Yeah.
Most
things I'm like gone. And like I remembered Zeshan's feet because she talked about it all the time. Like that I remembered.
Yeah.
But that was like integral to the plot. So it's not quite the same.
I saw the author retweeted something that was, or maybe they tweeted it themselves. It was describing Iron Widow as like Shermine and Zetian just suffering the entire time, while Idyu is just like having the bisexual time of his life. It was like, yeah, it basically describes the book. They're like all suffering, and he's just like, you guys
having
are
a
pretty.
Bella has a better memory than any of us. So she doesn't have that problem because she remembers the specific words. I do not. I don't have that good a memory. It is in one ear, out the other. Though I'm not good at rereading because I remember all the plot beats, but I only remember plot beats.
I can't reread like ever. I'm not I can't. It's hard enough these days for me to be able to find the time and energy to like read and finish books. I can't go back and reread.
I can do it very rarely, and there have to be things like I haven't read in like 10 years, so there's like nothing going on, no memory.
Or if it's like a comfort book, like one that I genuinely like, it's just easy for me to read it over again. But like, even a lot of my comfort reads, I can't reread. Part of me is because like I could be reading different new books I haven't read.
Yeah. I'm making a plan for my TBR game for the next year. I kind of did it this year, but I'm trying to like up it next year. That I'm going to try and do rereads intentionally.
Don't even get me started on TBR. I'm like 48 out of 75, and it's almost December. I might have to change it. I have not read the books in years, you guys. Oh my god, it's a new law. Even last year, I managed to get 75.
It's been a busy year. It's okay. Yeah, so Erin said, yeah, like if they, other people react, I can keep that in my head too. I agree, because it feels more than just visual. Yeah. I back that up, Erin. Erin and I share a brain cell. We talked about this the other day. My friend Paige hosted a like trivia reading sprints, and Erin and I were both there, basically scoring really similar on this trivia. And then my friend Paige was like, "How are you guys doing the same?" And we were like, "We share a brain cell. We have the same brain cell." Is there anything else we want to say about Iron Widow before we dive completely off topic again?
Shoot, what was I gonna say? Yeah, how do we feel about Zetien's family, and like how, I mean, when she was like deciding what to do, and she had the two different women, or one of them was like, "Don't forgive them," and the other was like, "Forgive them," and in the end, she, you know, made the decision. I guess I just wanted to hear like thoughts.
Yeah,
How old is her brother?
Her brother?
Is he younger than her?
I got the vibe that he was like a little younger, but around the same age. This is
Okay.
one of those factors that I did not store, so I
Yeah,
can't
and
confirm.
she didn't seem to have any feelings about him at all. Like, I don't remember her having any
No,
negative, positive, or neutral feelings for him.
but I feel like there was generally a vibe of like he was so separate from the family because he was the son.
Yeah.
Like he was held on a totally different level. The sisters were like servants together, and he was the son. Like, so I think that I can understand that, like really separating your relationship as siblings. Like,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be a close relationship.
Yeah, it definitely did not seem
Yeah.
like they were close.
No, and then he's more just like a representation of like the male dominance within the within their societal structure. So rather than a person, more like a symbol of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because he just did not. We weren't given any glimpse of his personality, anything. I feel like maybe that was like done on purpose.
Okay.
But I was totally on the side of rooting for her to be like, no, don't forgive them. Like, fuck them.
This is a good comment. So Erin says it resonated with her, this like choice between the two, as someone who has a complicated family dynamic between like wanting to cut everyone off and wanting to try. I feel that.
Yeah, I feel like her mom was the only one who like maybe could have been redeemable, but I don't know.
I do think there's like a certain level of like, is it redemption that you're looking for, or is it just like a like I can accept that you made shitty decisions and I'm getting on with my life. Like there's one thing between like holding that hate versus just like whatever and moving on.
Yeah.
So like there is like a difference there, even if it's not like necessarily redemption. Because like I don't necessarily think any of her family were deserving of redemption. But there's one thing to just be like, I don't hold that hatred for you versus
it could be like, okay, like I'm moving on and leaving you behind, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but as Bella said, they used her money selling her off, like the death money if she died, to pay for the brother's bride. Like,
and her father,
like, get the boy a bride.
Like I genuinely wanted her to like, or I mean, did I say brother? No, her father was the worst. I wanted her to genuinely stab him.
Yeah, and yeah, like no.
Yeah, and how she realized how they were willing to do way more for her brother than they ever were for her.
That particular bit reminded me a lot of a scene in She Who Became the Sun right at the start, Like, I don't recommend that book to you because it's not a happily ever after kind of book.
Yeah,
I don't
you
think
will.
you'll like it. I don't think it's your kind of thing. But the it's a lot about gender and like gender constructs and binarizing society and stuff. And it's her and her brother. She doesn't even have a name. But her brother's like meant to have this great destiny or whatever. And her dad does like everything for her brother. She doesn't even have a name. And so when her brother dies, like the plot is her like taking her brother's identity and like going through the world as a man, as her brother, like in life. It's a really, I think, a really interesting take on gender, but it's not like it isn't like as like she is like the use of pronouns is really mixed because she still feels like she's taking someone's place to an extent, and like she doesn't have the language to talk about herself as someone that's not a woman. Like it's kind of limited in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I thought she was like gender fluid. Like I thought.
Yes. But it's kind of like you could imply that from what's in the text, not in the text. Like she kind of fully becomes her brother and like is him and acts entirely as him, and she like becomes him rather than like a like cross-dressing trope. But her language is still like she refers to herself in first person as she, whereas other people use he because she's her brother. Everyone knows them as her brother. So yeah, it's like, and it's definitely that the author imposed a lack of ideas of neutral pronouns and stuff on the world. Like the world just doesn't have them that she's in.
Yeah.
So like it kind of makes sense. But yeah. I like this. Got to move on and have her found family house husband. Oh, I'm very excited for book 2.
Yeah. How long do I have to wait?
I have no idea.
Get everything that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so too. Like her brother isn't a person. Her brother is just like an epitome of the success of men within their society. Yeah. I'm reading my brain. Alrighty. Well, we have what, 15 minutes left. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Any other things you've read or spotted lately? A little roundup of what polyamorous stuff have we found this month? Mine is not much.
Well, maybe like a year or two down the road if the Atlas trilogy. I mean, I'm finishing up book 1 and I'll read book 2, and then depending on how book 2 goes, maybe read book 3, and I will let you guys know how it ends up, and then maybe we can do the whole trilogy.
That's a good idea. Like me with getting you guys to read the dragon ones.
Yeah.
That the fifth one comes out very soon.
Wait, dragon what?
The Chorus of Dragons. The what's the first one? Ruin of Kings. That series.
Oh, yeah.
The last one comes out in like February or something like that.
So. Oh yeah, you're gonna let us know how it goes.
We'll let you know.
Please do.
The only thing that like landed on my radar this past month was Julie's book from Julie from Pages and Pens. That was the one I sent into the group chat. I can't remember what it's called. I know you tweeted about it.
Me?
Yeah. A Curse of Ash? Is that one? A Curse in Ash. That just dropped. I think it's self-published by a small press. Yeah.
Did I send this to the group chat?
I think I sent it in originally and then you tweeted about it. I found the Goodreads. I'll send it into the group chat now. Um, to Erin, yes.
Oh, yeah. Is this YA or adult?
It's adult.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's a bit kinky, I think. But it's a romance, I believe. So, like,
sweet.
happily ever
And what gender dynamics?
I don't. I could not tell you. I think it's MFM, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah. I'm looking at a review right now.
Yeah, I'm just trolling the reviews too, so I only know what other people have said, and I don't necessarily trust everyone's gonna like.
Yeah, I don't trust a whole lot of people when it comes to like polyam.
No,
Yeah,
but it's definitely polyamorous. I just don't know the dynamic. But I think we should read that next year for the book club because I think it would be fun. I think it's theoretically a standalone.
Okay.
So, yeah. I think
Yeah, I'm just wary about a lot of factors. Like, is it by a queer author? Is it queer, or is it like where they're all like?
It says it's queer.
Okay.
Like the author said that it's queer. I think she's queer. I don't know for sure. She's got a YouTube channel. I've watched lots of her videos.
Okay.
I just don't know enough.
What's the author's name? Julie
Xantopoulos. Her YouTube is Pages with Pens.
Does she have a Twitter?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'll find it.
How do you spell the last name?
It's on the Goodreads. Representing pens? Surely she has a Twitter. I've seen her come up. I'm sure I'm following her. But... You've read Hunger Pangs, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
I have not. It's on my like back burner. Like I see it there. I'm like, I know you're there. Because that's the one that
Wait,
has
it's the first in a 5-book series? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. You knew it had a sequel, but you didn't know it.
I knew it would have a sequel. I knew it was queer. I knew it was polyamorous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did not know it was gonna be 5 series. That's kind of fun. I feel like we don't get a whole lot of like long series like that. So we should talk about the books we're reading for December.
Yes, we should. I can bring them up on my iPad. We're reading 2 books in December. I'm going to announce it on the Twitter after this.
2 novellas.
Yes, 2 novellas. Let's actually go to my Kindle. They're both Christmas themed because KJ really wanted to do a Christmas themed something for December. So we have to come up with the cover. This one, which is a like 3.5 or something in a series, but they're a series of companion novels. So there's no like requirement to have read the other ones before this. Yeah, Erin's not wrong with this comment.
Yeah, I don't trust a whole lot of polyamorous from.
And the other one
Oh, and Shade Bloom is November's book.
Yes, Shea Bloom was November's book. I did announce that on the Twitter a while ago. I'm currently reading it.
I read it a while ago, so yeah, I'm good. But
This is our
we'll have that live stream sometime in December. And
yes.
second December.
Whoop. There we go. This is the
I
second.
confused because we read the books. We'll do the live
I
stream.
want to try and get back on track to like read at the end of the month they're in. But we're normally late, like really late. Yes, so this is the second one. They're both smutty, fun. We'll see how they go.
We're reading for December, and we'll probably do the live stream in January. Shade Bloom, we're reading for November, but we'll probably do the live stream in December.
Yes.
So if you haven't finished it yet, you have time.
Yes. Well, I'm only reading it right now. I don't know if KJ's read it yet. And that's our biggest problem, getting all of us to have actually read it by the I blame you this time, but it was me and KJ another time.
I'm usually the one who's lagging behind.
I was definitely behind or KJ was behind for Night Vine, but I have been behind for something. I'm late on this one. I'll probably finish it today, but
wait,
I was hoping.
Did we do a live stream for Night Vine?
We did, yeah, we did. I think we got very sidetracked. I'm hoping we could do the December ones because they're just novellas, and hopefully it shouldn't take too long. That we could maybe like squish it in like between Christmas and New Year or something like really squishy.
Yeah.
And get it like the live show just before the end of the year. Would be ideal.
For January, do we want to maybe do like some kind of poll where we like do a vote to see what I have like a whole thread on my Twitter of like every Polyam book I know of. I'm constantly adding to it. I don't think I've even added every book I know of quite yet, but we can all scroll through that and maybe pick out 4 and then do like a little poll.
I think that's a great idea for January. Erin, don't do this with the Christmas novellas. You don't want to be reading Christmas novellas on the first week of January. Like, even if we do the live show in January, this is not the time. Read Christmas novellas
after Christmas. It's like it just makes me sad that it's not Christmas anymore.
No. So read the Christmas novellas before that. I do think it's a good like wrap up to the year, a couple of Christmas novellas, because it's like casual. We're not too worried about
it's
like
chill novellas. Yeah. Like we got,
and they're both pretty short.
Yeah. I know one we were talking about was the Ballad of Dinah Caldwell.
Yes. I don't own that yet, but I need to get it.
And that one's like a YA female or FFM, and it's like a revenge murder plot type thing.
Ooh.
I
don't see the Polyamory advertised enough about that book. Like I keep trying to find it.
Yeah, well, it's not a super well known.
Yeah, I'm tempted to I'm gonna pick between a few things for my LGBTQ plus reads subscription service for December, and I think I might like toss up between that and the Charm Offensive and see which one I end up getting. I'll just buy the one I don't get.
Yeah, we can always do one I've already read too. Like I don't mind doing that every now and then.
You're like, yes, then I don't have to catch up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't read seasonally either. Like that's Australians, I feel like it's harder to read seasonally as Australians because all the releases are coming out in the wrong season. Like we're going into summer and all the wintry books are coming out. But like a Christmas read's a Christmas read.
Yeah.
Christmas is different.
Exactly. I feel like so far we've been like lucky. Like so far most of us like we pretty much, I mean the 3 of us, you, me, and KJ, have like pretty much felt the same way about each book we read. I'm worried we'll like read one that I'll like love and like you guys will hate, and I'm really sensitive and I'm like not gonna want to like it.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I feel like, well, like most of it's like a technicality difference anyway. Like I know KJ didn't like the sci-fi stuff as much because she doesn't like sci-fi. Like it's not like
What does she like? That sounds judgmental, but like she doesn't like sci-fi. She doesn't like
contemporary. Yeah, she just likes fantasy.
What other genres are there? Fantasy?
Did she give Iron Widow 4 stars? I forgot to check. I think she did.
Yeah, she did. I spied on her and I spied on you to see if you guys rated it.
Which is impressive for her because she doesn't like historical fiction. She doesn't like sci-fi.
It's not historical.
We need to get. I'm going to get KJ to write out a little like her opinion on Iron Widow, and we can put it on the Twitter. Because she couldn't make it today, but I want her thoughts on it. I want the essay.
Yeah, there's also Steak Sauce by Anna Silver. I've read that one. I haven't read the sequel yet though.
Oh, it does have a sequel.
I feel like you could like technically say it's like a spoiler to say that it's polyamory, but like whatever. It's male, and it has a trans autistic character who's also M-spec and A-spec, and I really enjoy the first one. We could always. I don't know how we feel about like series. Like if we want to wait for the whole series to be out first.
That doesn't bother me. I don't know about KJ, but it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I'm scrolling through my thread of Polyunbooks. You guys both read In the Ravenous Dark, right? And you both gave it like 3 stars or less.
Correct. So I think I saw Andy read it recently. She loved it. So yeah, I don't know. They had a really high opinion of it.
Oh, there's I'm gonna show a picture of this one because it starts with an A. But there's this one. I'm actually like 30% this one, but I haven't picked it up in a while just because that's how I am with books. But
I'm such a cover person that I need you to like read something and recommend it to me when it's like indie or self-published and the covers just aren't the same like crazy quality as traditionally published, because I look at it and my eyes just like glaze over.
This one?
Ooh, yeah. Like I wouldn't look at that like I'm like, oh, nice piece of art, but I don't go, oh, nice cover. You know what I mean? Like it's two separate things.
I love this cover because you look at it and you're like polyamorous, and then you find out it's actually polyamorous. Oh, that's great. And I'm really liking the writing so far. I think it's gonna be really good. We could do that one. I don't know if I'll like finish it first or not. Hold on. Scrolling through my list.
And I know KJ had a few horror things that I think they were horror that she'd heard about.
Did you guys read To Be Taught
I have,
Fortunate? Yeah. I have too.
I think KJ did.
Yeah, I think she
did.
I think she said she liked it too.
Yeah. She definitely read Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. Can't remember if she read that one.
Sorry, I can't hear you because there's just a bunch of noise.
That's okay. I know she read A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I'm not sure if she read To Be Taught Fortunate.
Oh yeah.
They're both sci-fi. And she says she doesn't like sci-fi. And then like gives them like average high ratings, like a 3.54. I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah. I think she said she was reading this one too. I'm reading. That's another one I'm like 30% through and haven't picked up in a while. She said she was like just putting it down for now. I'm surprised she's even still like reading this one. It's kind of like a dense read and kind of a slow read, but at the same time it's like intriguing. It's one of those where like the polycule is kind of like established at the beginning, sort of.
Yeah.
Where the two of them like get back with an old love interest, and then they're kind of just together for the rest of the book. So that can be interesting. We could do that one if KJ and I wanted like the motivation to like finish
it.
Like it's not that I wasn't enjoying it. It just I have to be in like the certain mood for it, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, there's Mechanica by Betsy Cornwell, which I think has kind of like a queer platonic type female relationship, and then female male, and it's like like a Cinderella retelling that's what's the word, steampunk or something like that.
Ooh. I feel
What?
like I've seen the cover for that, but knew nothing about it. Look at my little like um, queer list. That's just generally queer stuff.
Strange Grace. Have you read Strange Grace?
I've read Strange Grace, but I don't think KJ has.
I haven't read it either.
We definitely could read that.
Yeah.
That's something like I want to reread, but I'm scared I won't like it as much a second time. It was like a favorites of the year level good, and then now I'm like, oh, would I like it as much on a reread? I'm not sure.
Why do you say that? What is it? What does that mean?
I've read some other stuff from her after that I didn't like as much.
Okay.
Like I've read some stuff from Tessa Gratton that I really loved, and some stuff that I was like, that was good, and then some stuff that I was like, oh, I don't know. So I don't know if it was just like me in that point of time loving it, or if like I would actually love it still.
Yeah, sometimes I read a book by an author and I'm like, meh, but I'll still be interested in reading their other books. Like A Lesson in Vengeance, I was not a huge fan of, but the author, his next book coming out next year has like a I think it's adult, not YA, and has a trans guy love interest, and I think like maybe a queer main character, and I'm really intrigued by that one. I'm just nervous because of how A Lesson in Vengeance. You know, I mean, have you read it?
I have read it. Yep.
Yeah, so you know, not really my cup of tea.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing. You have like really careful preferences about stuff, and I'm always like, this is a good book, but it's not a Dylan book. I'm sorry.
Wait, what?
There are so many times I'm like, this was such a good book, or this had a good like queer relationship, but it was not a Dylan book.
Well, it's
so many times.
Not like 100% of the time it needs to be a happy ending. Like some books like have kind of like open endings or kind of like, and I still enjoy them. It just it's really 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 specific. It just has to. I don't know how to describe it. Sometimes it works.
Like, whereas my threshold for that is much lower. So I'm like, yeah, that was cool. It wasn't a happy ending because like it didn't really make sense for the kind of story it was telling.
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah. Like that's fine for me. And then I'm like, that was a good book. Don't read it, Dylan. You won't like it.
I just make assumptions. I think that's part of the problem. Like I go into a book being told it's sapphic, and I think to me that means it's gonna end with like a happy ever after sapphic, and yeah, like no one told me that. I just went in expecting.
Like no, that's like a dark YA or a horror or something, and they're there to just like love each other for a short period of time, and then punch you in the face.
Yeah, it's like, oh man.
Yeah, see, Erin's the exact opposite. She does not want to be happy at the end. But Erin, on this topic, yes.
Well, then how are you in this book club then?
I know, right? That's why Erin doesn't like half the stuff we read, but she reads it anyway to support us.
Thank you for your support, Erin.
Yeah. Please send me your book idea, Erin. I want to talk about it. You can DM me if you don't want to share it to the world.
Yeah, so any of those books I brought up, any of them sound interesting to you guys?
I would happily read any of them, chuck it on a poll, see what people want to read. I think polls would be good. Then it's out of our control. We could just be bullied into reading whatever.
Well, I don't mind either way, because all these books are ones that are already like on my TBR. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I don't really add Polyumbooks to the thread if I think they're not gonna like end with the polyamory like intact.
Yeah.
So what were those books? We had Ballad of Dinah Caldwell, we had Finders, we had
Let me write them down and all.
Strange Grace. And you wouldn't necessarily have to reread it if we.
No.
You could just be like me, where I'm just like, oh yeah, I already read it. I'll just sit back and relax. To be
We could
taught.
put like, what was that one?
What?
Were you about to say another one? No.
Steak sauce.
Yeah.
Aria. Well, look, I said it without stuttering. What do you know? To be taught if fortunate, even though you and I have both read it, and possibly KJ.
I would reread that one.
Yeah, I feel like maybe like because it's a pretty short book too. We could do
Hunger Pangs.
Hunger Pangs, 3-part Harmony by Holly Trent, which I've read and loved.
To read that. I don't know, I never read
that Inevitable Victorian thing, another one I started but haven't finished yet.
I've read that one.
I know it sounds bad when I'm like, oh, I started this one and ages ago and had never finished it, but
you never finish anything. It's fine.
Yeah, any of those stand out?
I don't have any standouts at the moment for me, but I would read any of them. Like, put them all on a poll, pick one out, I would read it. Mm-hmm. Erin says she'd love to reread To Be Taught If Fortunate, so that has the perfect, like, kind of miserable ending for Erin.
It's not necessarily miserable. It's open, right?
It's open, yeah.
See? I think we briefly talked about that on another of our live streams. Like, I feel like KJ has read it. I think we've all read it.
I don't mind. We could reread it. It's fine.
I remember talking about how it has like a trans character, but it's like really mentioned like really briefly, and then it has another like a spec character, and I liked how the relationship dynamics were a little different. Like some of them were sexual and romantic, others were like clear platonic. And I kind of liked the open ending. See, sometimes it works for me.
I'm gonna look up this one.
Oh yeah, that's another one. You could read. That one's on my
I'm guessing it might be a novella.
The Companion.
Yeah.
Novella. Ish.
Whether it's also it's like a big novella, short novel kind of category.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah.
I feel like there's a lot I haven't added to my thread yet. I feel like there's a bunch missing.
It is novella. 122 pages. It's not like super short, but like
yeah.
I put it out on the list too. So yeah, I think KJ wouldn't like it because it's historical. She never likes anything.
Exactly. She's too picky. If we go by what she'll like, then we'll read like
we just have to force KJ to read all the things she thinks she won't like. And then she'll read them and be like, that was okay.
And you could try doing it with me a little bit too. But for me it's less that like I'll read like any genre. I just don't like being sad. And you don't want me to be sad.
Alrighty. Well, it has been over an hour.
Oh my god.
So we should probably wrap up.
We'll try to put together a poll and we'll tweet official announcement of the 2 novellas for December. And also maybe tweet like a reminder that November read is Shape Bloom, because I feel like we
I'll put up a reminder and the tweets about December's books like straight after this. ready to go. And then maybe like halfway through December, we'll put up a poll and you can tell us what we should be reading in January. And then we can make an official announcement on it. I'm down for that. Oh, my cat's being cute. Let me see if I can.
Oh, hi, kitty.
She's like, I am asleep. She popped her head up. She's like, what? What? There you go, kitty. You can get a head rub. Alrighty. Well, we should wrap up.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Thank you so much for coming. Yes, you need to go have dinner. I should go get lunch. And hopefully in like a few weeks, not a whole month really late, we'll do a live for Shade Bloom. I will be
I
finishing
feel
it
like
today.
we should maybe do it like 2 weeks into December. Like,
Yeah. And then like snap a little quick one out for the 2 novellas right before the end of the month. All right. Thank you so much for coming, Erin and Bella, and anyone who's watching this later. Thank you so much for coming. And we'll see you next time.